Here we are. I'm Kyle O'Reilly.
And I'm Isaac Savage.
And this is the Here We Are show powered by CSN.
Today we sit down with Antz Notorious Nansen, two-time King of the Ring champion and five-time WKBF champion. We cover bare knuckle, we cover diets, we cover Mana FC.
And Antz Nansen calls out the Balkan Bear Brando Pericic.
Welcome along today, Antz Notorious Nansen. Fight at Mana FC. Walk us through it. Your fight with Lee Kara first and foremost.
Yep. So after sort of coming out of retirement, and we've just had a few fights in that. My sister's been throwing these Mana FC shows, and she's asked, "Hey, listen, I'm going back to full Thai, back down to the roots, and would you like to have a full Thai fight?" And I was like, "Yeah, sweet as." She was like, who excites you? Who do you want to fight? I said, pretty much anyone, I'm keen for anyone. But and then she already had him in mind anyway, because she knows that he always puts on a good show. He's got some good wins under his belt. He's beaten the Titan before. Ooh. And he's just come off a real narrow loss for ISKA bout, down in Christchurch. So we've taken that on board. Had about 6-week camp. 6 good weeks of training in that, but yeah.
And you're feeling good?
I'm feeling really, really good. With this camp, we sort of, after retirement, I've come out and I've just started back at zero with knowledge and everything. So I just done everything that I thought and what my coaches, Sammy and Pepe at the time, thought would help me, So, but we've been it's been a bit of a teething thing. We're going back and forth, but now we've just cut everything back, and we've just gone back to the old way of training, just hard pads, good hard sparring, just putting in the reps, we haven't actually really been doing any strength and conditioning. Everything's been just repetition,
You spoke about coming out of retirement. Have you ever tried any other sport? Was this it for you? Have you tried CrossFit? Have you tried, obviously, lifting weights, but playing tennis? You just couldn't do it? Is just kickboxing, combat sport, something you love? Yeah,
combat sport, there's just something in combat sport that sort of, I don't know, it just excites your soul, Especially if you're a fighter, honestly, I think Mike Hunt's spoken about it as a fighter's heart never stops wanting to fight, doesn't matter how old you are and then you're always just that willing to fucking
your
push yourself to that.
Your body might give up.
Your body will definitely give up eventually, but your heart and your mind never does, Yeah.
So how did you actually get into fighting? I think I read online that you started off Kung Fu as a...
Yeah. So my dad is big martial art, he loves martial arts. He started taking me and my 2 sisters to Kung Fu. I sucked at it. I was actually real bad. I think I might have cried one time because I didn't like how things were going. But I absolutely sucked at it. I think the best I ever got at it was I think I might have come 3rd because there were 3 people in the competition, It wasn't anything, it was nothing to brag about. Yeah. But yeah, that's how we sort of first started. Then I gave it a rest because I sucked at it. When I got into my teens and that, just from having troubles and that, and you figure out that you can actually fight, I thought, fuck, I'm not too bad, So I wandered over to my workmate at the time, over to the Thai brothers, and the Thai brothers had a little gym and that's all set up. Went and lied to them and told them, I've had a couple of fights. You guys want to throw me in the ring, So they were like, we've got one in about 5-6 weeks. I said, no, I'll be ready for it. I ended up fighting Tony Angelov.
Yeah.
Damn.
Dropped him the first round. I thought, I've won, I've won. He come back and it was it was one of the most painfulest fights of it. He just punished me for the last 2 rounds. He ended up winning the fight actually, and he's beaten me twice. He's beaten me twice. He's a little thorn on my side, but he's such a cool dude. I don't know. We're real good mates in that, but I'll never say no to anyone, Yeah.
Thai brothers. So you're saying that Daniel, Jordan, and what's the other one?
Daniel, Jordan, Raphael, and Josh.
Yeah.
And then their sisters Monica. And they've got another older sister that fights too, real cool fighting family. And the dad was, he was a real cool trainer and that, he's passed away now, so rest in peace. But real cool family. That's how it sort of originally started. And then sort of gave up on that plan a little bit. And then I started going over to 232 in Maru Road and started having boxing fights out of there. Just like, yeah, I was actually done all right. I fought a few good people there. And then Jason Suddy was taking fighters there at the same time. And he approached one of my mates and he was like, if your mate ever wants to take it seriously, you know, tell him to come down to my gym. My mate had told me a couple of times, I sort of brushed it off. And then I actually like sort of went into like the, like Jason Suddy and his whole gym and everything again, you know? And I clicked like, oh, this is actually like, this could be something good for me, you know? And then I wandered down there and within 3 months here, Jason had me in a fight. And within 5 fights, I was fighting for my national fight, for our national title, yeah.
And then King of the Ring.
Yeah, and then just like everything just built up to King of the Ring and that, so yeah.
You were there in the era of Thumper, Edwin Sammy, I'm trying to think of the little Filipino, Joey Balin. You were from that era, right?
There are so many good people out of there. Patia Foa, the Barbarian, Poli Lakai. Yeah, there's so many good people out of there. Even the lightweights, you just like Dimitri, Sefa Fui, Logan. Yeah, there were so many, like, I think there's a photo of all the fighters and all the bouts. It's like ridiculous amount of bouts, like not to mention Jason 6, you know? But like there were just like so many champions there and it was hard not to like, not to sort of strive to be your best and be a champion. It's sort of similar to what CKB got at the moment. You know, the best of the best is training there. Like, you can't help it. So it's the sort of the culture that they're sort of breeding there.
I don't know if you would have seen it, but we interviewed Jason in an ice bath about, a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
And I asked him the question, so he started King in the Ring because he wanted to find his replacement.
Yep.
He felt like he was the biggest and baddest in New Zealand, but he wanted to take a step back. And I said, did you find that person? And he said, yeah, Antz Nansen. He said he was my favourite champion.
Yep.
Like I feel like he took the mantle of the biggest and baddest in the scene and ran with it.
Yeah.
So that's quite high praise.
Yeah, it is. I get a little bit emotional talking about Jason because like when I met him, I had nothing going in my life, you know, and he like sort of he was my first sponsor. I didn't have to work. I just had to train and commit to everything, you know. And a lot of my life inside the ring and outside the ring, I would say, became better because of him, you know. Nice. And I actually haven't seen that. I think I might have seen a little snippet about the pain part.
Yeah.
And but yeah, no, I haven't seen that part. Yeah, that's cool, man. I got so much love for him. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
But there's similarities between you and Jace too, because you both look intimidating. You are intimidating. You do the damage. But then when we get you here, you know, relatively nice person. I'm relatively. You know, I'm not in the ring, but it's like he's taught so many people so well.
Yeah.
You know. Well, I mean, everybody, and you see his family life and how he is always giving back. Even last weekend, he was at the Thai temple for Songkran. I mean, he does live, breathe, eat it. I mean, you know, that saying, you know, respect all, fear none, literally, it's true and true. In saying that, are you going to jump in an ice bath or have you tried that too?
I have not tried it. I'm like, I'm not really too sure about it.
He did it that day that we were there. They tried to get me in there.
Struggled.
No chance.
I see all the benefits and the scientific facts behind it. So I mean, I will eventually try do it and try build the balls to get in there anyway.
What about, so you're fighting on Thursday on Manor FC? It's your sister Tori's promotion.
Yes.
Give us a bit of the background of Manor FC and what it means to Tori, what it means to you, what it means to the Nansens and the wider scene.
Yeah. So Tori, obviously we're all Samoans, but Tori and Pepe have now sort of pretty much married, or Tori's married into Māori family and the whole tikanga and everything of it, you know. Yeah. And she can speak it pretty well. She understands it, and she's just incorporating what we love, so which is kickboxing, and what she has now living with her partner Q, Q Pirate, and like they're just incorporating Māori and the culture and how like warriors, what Māori warriors from back in the day, they're trying to incorporate all that into Manor FC into this promotion.
That's a good look.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like it.
We talked to Aaron Toe not too long ago, you know, from City Kickboxing. And he sort of touched on it because he's obviously Maori, he's got the te moko. But he actually touched on the effect that the colonizers had when they came. Where he's from up north, he said that they had a real positive impact, a real positive influence, and he actually tries to incorporate that part of his heritage into it as well. So it's quite cool that you see in the Samoan, because from an outsider, this might come across and you might have to cut this out. From an outsider, I'm from London, I like my wife's part Māori, but I can't see a huge difference between Samoa, Māori, Tongan. I know that there's a massive effing rivalry between Samoa and Tonga from what I see on social media. It scares me sometimes. But like, what's the differences between the two cultures, and how are you combining them and molding them?
If I'm honest, like the only real difference is the language.
Really?
Like only by like little bits too. Like everything pretty much is the same. Like and like I'm not like this. Like I'm not like hard out until like where all the canoes came from. But you know, like we're pretty much one people. You know. The only thing that's divided us is maybe the last 200 years and the language.
My guys came over and ruined it, eh?
Until, your uncle and your great uncle and that, but...
The family values, you know, the whale, the whare.
Yeah.
A lot of words are similar, more so even Cook Island, Māori, and Māori, you know, obviously Tongan Samoan.
Pakeha, Palangi.
Yeah,
exactly. Those two.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Even hearing it from you say that because sometimes we do think Tongan, Samoan, Māori are quite divided, but they are very similar too, with a lot of sort of intricacies with family and culture and other values. So
especially Samoa and Tonga, like this is something of recent that I've just sort of been learning is that we've got a lot of things that are like very similar, and a lot of things that where we work together. You know, it's I don't know, like again, last 200 years things have sort of split, and I don't know, like people in Samoa don't seem to mind Tongans, and the Tongans in Tonga don't seem to. It's like, it must be a New Zealand thing. It must have been like this vibe that you guys brought over or something, I don't know.
Brother. Talking about family values, sorry brother.
That's all right.
Talking about family values, Smack Gym.
Yeah.
So that's you, baby, Tori.
And Sammy.
And Sammy.
And Q.
And Q. So how did that come about? How did you go from being a guy that boxed a bit, and then got brought into the fold by Jason and ETK. How did that then evolve into your family running a gym and running promotions?
So I was always over at ETK, and my older sister had been training with Smack Gym for years and years and years. When everything sort of like the old trainers sort of left, and then they left it with her.
Right.
She got married, she moved down to Featherston. Then my little sister took over. Yeah. And all this sort of started happening when I was in retirement and that. And my little sister was like, hey, listen, man, if you ever want to get into kickboxing, and then can you promise that, you can come back and try and give me a hand and that. So I sort of left that lying, didn't really think about it too much. And then when I decided to sort of at least start training, people try and give back, I just remembered I promised my sister that I would go back and help. Because at that point in time, they were doing like a troubled youth sort of program. So I went straight back into that and just try to help out. And then it got like from doing just training to training a little bit more to sparring to like, hey, I think I can fight, you know? Yeah, and then that's how it sort of come back out and back into what it is now,
Nice.
But it's been awesome being part of Smack Gym. Like it's a real family culture, and we try incorporate that in everything we do,
So what kind of ethics and morals do you instill into your younger fighters? We've got like a pretty decent roster coming out of Smack Gym at the moment. So Suran, we're going to differ on his name. So Suran, Juan Miri or Juan Miri, depending on whether you're Mexican or not.
Yeah, like we've all come from like pretty much hardship background, and we're in a place in South Auckland, like, we've got so much talent out there, but like it's very hard. Like even with some of our boys now, it's very hard to keep them on the straight and narrow. I don't know if you guys ever seen Alex's knockout and over at Art of War. Like he's one real like powerful dude, and and he trains hard and everything, but the thing is just trying to keep them in the gym, trying to keep them on the straight and narrow, trying to show them that like there is the bigger picture at the end. We just need to sort of work at what's happening right now.
One thing I would say on that, going back to the whole Samoan Tongan culture, Māori, over the years, and I'll throw this out there, a lot of Polynesians have such raw natural talent.
Yes.
I want to say colonizer, but Kyle, sometimes as Europeans, they don't have that natural talent flair, but they're consistent. Right. They're consistent. But some Polynesians have amazing raw talent power. But it's just about keeping them on track.
100%. It's about keeping them on track, giving them that education. Another thing we lack is like that education on how to train, what to eat, discipline, and that's what we lack.
Less corned beef.
Less corned beef, not so much taro. But I don't know, because have you seen David Tor lately?
Man.
The guy looks like he's gone back 10 years in time, like he's looking sharp, man. He's ready to fight. Yeah. He's ready to fight. And he eats pretty much anything, Yeah. So I'm not saying that's a good idea, but it seems to work.
Have you seen those calves?
Ridiculous. But in fairness, and again, please edit this. The difference that I think you might be pointing out is between maybe natural talent and trained talent between the islanders and the Europeans. The fucking size.
Yep.
The first time I got off the bus in town to walk to my office, and there were 11, 12-year-olds in their school uniforms that looked like 40-year-old blokes. Yeah. Massive, twice the size of me. That's a benefit. Yeah. You got a lot of heavyweight fighters. I mean, you're not a small bloke.
Nah, but I'm actually probably the smallest out of heavyweights. I'm actually quite short for heavyweights. But that is true. That is true. Genetically sort of gifted with size and that, and raw power. But you're right.
I've noticed you are a bit trimmer, and take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you look actually in better shape now. What have you?
Right? 100% you're right.
What have you done?
So something with So I used to fight cruiserweight, super cruiser, and I used to bounce between that. And then one time, we're doing a fight, and Jason's like, "Hey, dude, you're a little bit overweight, And I was like, "Oh no, I'll be all right." And he's like, "What are you eating?" Again, this comes down to discipline and lack of education on what to eat. Told him, and he was like, "No, you got to do this." And I was like, "I'm all right," and just went and did my own things. Anyway, come to the weigh-in. I was still a little bit overweight, but they were like, "Oh, no, we'll just let him fight." Jason was so disgusted with me. He was like, "From now on, you're fighting heavyweight. Just fight." So my next fight, I think it was the guy was 10 kilos heavier than me. But hey, it ended up being all right because I ended up being faster than everyone,
And you didn't have to cut weight.
I didn't have to cut weight. And then so I was still eating absolutely everything and still training who knows, I could have had a six-pack back then, but I was just eating Burger King after trainings and that, but just didn't have to worry about weight. It was all good. Yep.
Speaking of heavyweights, so there was a pretty massive event on last night. Shuriken Fight Series 17. Prelims were live on CSN and the main card on UFC Fight Pass. Massive event.
Yep.
The main event or the main fight of that card was another heavyweight called Brando Perisic, the Balkan Bear. He has been saying that he is the most avoided fighter in Australasia. He can't get an MMA fight for love nor money. He's waited 5 years from his last MMA fight until last night because nobody wants to fight him. You've had a couple of MMA fights.
Yeah, I have.
What do you reckon?
Hey, listen, I'll never fight. I'll never say no to no one. Yeah. I'll give it a go for anyone. And fighters fight, That's what we do. But if it lines up and we have to fight, or we're looking at fighting, I'll fight them. Yep.
When's the next Shuriken? Hang on, it's called Jason Forster.
July. Headline event: Antz Nansen versus Brando Perisic.
Oh no! What have I done?
Bring out the bags. Bring out the money.
Yeah, Jason, start saving up now, mate.
Yeah, but I'm keen for anyone. I'm at a point in my career where it's before the whys on why you do it. It was just trying to get a name for yourself, trying to make a career of it. My why is now a lot different. I'm doing it so that my kids can be proud, and that I can live the rest of my life without regret. Yes. I can honestly say that I fought to the best of my ability. So
took on every challenge.
Took on every challenge.
Because that is a big thing. And I'm glad you've kind of pointed that out, because I don't think the layman or the outsider would look at fighting in that respect and look at it as you're, as a person, not just facing an opponent, you're facing a challenge. You're challenging yourself to being able to overcome this challenge in front of you. And it does have like a wider angle into every sort of facet of your life outside of the ring.
100%. So something that I've always believed is that, so when you fight in the ring, sometimes it's not even you versus him, it's you versus yourself. Yes. And then the natural ability is what's you know, what comes of it. But that's like, you're exactly right with it, man. Like it's just, fighting's helped me so much in my life, like with a lot of things, you know? Like it's helped me overcome a lot of things. But yeah.
Do you still not get nervous, though, week of fight week, weigh-in? How are you feeling during fight week? Is it, because you've done it so many times now, you've had so many fights. However, is it still the same? Do you have any rituals that you would and can go into, and do you still get nervous?
100% I still get nervous. I still get scared. I was just went through this with one of our fighters on the weekend that just fought on Friday, and like he was telling me about his nerves and that, and he's like looking at me, and I just told him like straight, like, hey man, I still get nervous, I still get scared. You know, I still, like, the nerves usually, like, change from like, why, like, I'm getting nervous because I don't think I'm fit enough, I'm getting nervous. And then when I get into the ring, it's usually I get nervous because I'm going to get knocked out, you know? And then just before the bell rings, it's like, I get nervous because I'm not going to perform. But then as soon as the bell goes, it's like, I don't know, it's like fighter's instinct and like that killer inside of you, just like everything just goes and it's just dead silent, just you versus yourself versus this guy, you know, like, but it's cool. It's cool.
Looking back on your fight career, we touched on your prior MMA fights. One of your MMA fights was against a quite well-known Pride FC and UFC veteran, Antz and Kyle. Can you please run us through that and what your sort of mindset was going into a fight like that?
So prior to that fight, a real good friend of Jason Sadi, Ray Matsumura, he had called Jason and said, listen, there's a silver medalist. They're building a whole show and whole like promotion about this guy. He's silver medalist. His name was Hiroshi Izumi. You know, do you have anyone? They're actually looking for a fall guy. They're looking for someone to come in here and just like get belted. And then this guy's career is going to start from there. And Jason was like, hey man, I got Antz. He was like, how many weeks you got? He was like, oh, you got like two weeks, and then you got to jump on a plane and you got to get over there, you know? Jason's like, no, we can do that. We can do it. It's all good, you know? We go over there. I knock him out. But before that, with me and Jason are walking through this park. It's quite a popular park in Tokyo there. And I point out, Jason was like, hey, there's Antz. And like, I didn't even know that they're actually real good friends. Yeah. And so Jason goes over there and starts talking to him. Next minute, Ant's like coming over and helping me sort of like with this fight that's coming up.
Sick.
After I knocked the guy out, the Japanese promoters see Antz get up on the side of the ring, and they see him like, hugging me and like, yeah, congratulations. So the very next fight, they're like, nah, we're going to get it back. You can fight your mate. And like, I'm contracted, so I got contracted for 3 fights after that. But yeah, they're like, nah, you know what? You can fight your mate. So they rang up and they said, listen, we've got no other fights. We've only got you and Antz. So like, for Jason's like, well, you know, like, this is your chance to do something of yourself, you know, like, at that point in time, no one was going overseas to fight, like in any kind of MMA sort of thing or anything, you know. Furthest we were sort of going was to Australia. So Jason respectfully rang Antz and goes, listen, the promoters have asked for this, and we're gonna say yes. We're telling you that we're saying yes before they ring you. And Antz was like, all good, you know. Antz was like, I'm looking for a retirement fight. Let's do this, you know.
It was his retirement.
It was his retirement fight. He was like, I'll do this, and now I'll be happy. But like something I sort of we'll talk about with Antz and Jason, like, so they're the only, I've got a post about it, they're the only two people. So when I stare at people, I believe I can sense like fear, and I can sense sort of anxiety, and I like at the stare downs or at the press conference or whatever, like I can actually feel like these people, there's a little bit of nerves here. Like, I got you, you know, I start believing in my head, like I 100% got this, you know. Jason and Antz have a saying too. They both got different sort of sayings. One's in Japanese, and Jason's got his one, die fighting. They actually believe that if they die in the ring, they're absolutely happy with it. And you know, like many people can say it, but when you look at these guys' eyes when they fight, there's 100% no fear. They're like happy to die in there, you know? This is their like dream of dying there. But
well, for the Japanese, that's like the samurai way.
It is,
like
it is.
If they lose a fight, then they take their little knife out and do themselves, don't they?
So with Jason, I've seen it when he fights other people, and with Antz, I'd seen it at the press conference. Because he spoke on it and like he was just happy, like if he dies here, this is his legacy, this is what he wants, you know? And when we went to get stared at, this is the first time I've ever stood across it, and like it gave me chills down my fucking back, man. I was like, shit, okay, we're doing this tomorrow, you know?
That's a different level of pressure, going into a ring against someone that's like, I really don't care if I die in it.
100%. And I've heard people say it before, and then when I've stared at them in like at the start of the fight, they have that little glitch or they have this little body language that makes me think, nah, you're still a little bit nervous, you know?
Well, let's see.
Wait, he's just gonna make me laugh. I'm sorry.
Saying that, right? That's a great segue into when you're fighting these people now, because you've been doing it for a while. And some of these guys are up and comers, you know, the Ricardos and the others. Do you sense that you've sometimes, like Ali said, you know, you can almost win the fight before the fight? Do you think a lot of people are intimidated by you? And do you sense that too? Like you just said, but even like when you're walking around, like, some people must come up to you, go hello, and like just like treat you with so much respect. But when it comes to these young guns coming up, they are probably slightly intimidated. But then they have to go against you and throw it on the line, right?
So with Kurt Douglas, like I'll be honest, I actually thought the Antz Nansen of 2022, I thought was the same as the Antz Nansen from like 2014 winning King of the Ring. You know, I thought I was still fucking top notch. I'm all good. First, like even at the stare down, I felt him like he was like questioning how the fight was gonna go down. First round, just ate him. He gets in the second round, he gets a couple of good shots in, and I see in his face it just changes, you know, like now he's become the fucking hunter, you know, and like that was sort of cool. Later on, it was cool to watch. Not good at the time, because at the time I was just absolutely belted, you know. But at the time, that was cool to watch, and I think. Like if we talk about like youngsters like these days, you know, they're building that sort of the balls and that to sort of step up to that level and give it a go, you know.
You are, to be like in like complete clarity here, I do think you're a bloody intimidating character. So I've been working for CSM for about 3 years now. You've been in the scene for about 46 years, and every time I see you at an event, I do sort of like not gasp, like that's a bit much.
It's a little
but there is a little bit much. But
I know
you start doing that stuff. No, but like there is a certain like, oh shit, it's Antz Nansen, like because you're a big lad, you're intimidating. You've got the tattoos, like, and I guess. Not the reputation. Well, I guess the reputation. You come in like you're a big tough guy, been to jail, part of a motorcycle club, fighter. Like, so it is.
But
like,
Kyle, remember when you came out of war, the way you walked out as a team, I know you, but people there didn't know you, and I was like, even I was a bit kind of scared.
You
just
said
walking
that.
out like, and I think that's where you flick the switch, right? You have to.
So there's like it's like a presence of a man, you know? Like you can feel the presence of someone when they walk in the room, you know? And I think I just over time and being a fighter and hanging out with some people with real strong presences, you know? Inside the ring, outside the ring, inside the gym and out, I think you sort of rubs off on you, you know? And you just sort of like carry yourself, like carry your mana and that real strong, you know? But like it does it, I sort of catch myself and I sort of go, tone it down. You're just in the corner, you know? You're not in the ring.
You're not going
you're not going to war right now, you know? But I sort of catch myself doing that. But that's all. I think that's what it is, just that presence, you know?
Looking back on, like you said when you were prepping for Kurt Douglas that you had, like in your head it was potentially 2010, 2014 Antz Nansen. In your prime, is there anyone that you wish you could have fought and didn't fight?
I think Carnage. I don't know if you guys can remember Nathan Corbett. Like the McKinnon brothers.
Yep.
Those two, like even like just one crack at it, you know.
Yeah.
They were a little bit like a little bit older than me, so like as they were sort of ending their career, I was sort of starting it.
Right.
But like just as a like a fan, you know, just as a fan, you just think those were the guys, you know. Yeah. Paul Slawinski, and I actually did get a shot at him, but didn't go my way. But yeah, I'd say those three guys. Yep.
I mean, you've been in the ring with Hassim Rahman as well.
Yep.
The unified, what was he? I've got it written down here. Unified WBC, IBF, IBO lineal heavyweight champion. Beat Lennox Lewis. He fought against James Toney, David Tua, Evander Holyfield, Vladimir Klitschko, Shannon. What's his name? Shannon. Briggs. Don't worry about that last one. It's fine. But like that's a resume and a half.
Yeah.
And actually, he was you were his retirement fight as well.
Yeah. So again, like this is like I don't know if it was something that we were just doing at the time, but it was like someone had rung up and said, "Hey, listen, do you guys got any boxers?" Jason was like, "Nah, I got no boxers." And they were like, "Oh, there's this 8-man," and I think the prize pool was $100,000. Like it was divvied up. He was Super 8. Jason was like, "Oh, I got one guy, but he's like not super heavyweight, but he'll give it a go." And they were like, Jason was like, "How long is it? How long's he got?" And he's like, "Oh, he's got 3 weeks." Okay. Like, sweet, we'll take it. And then he rings up Jason. He's like, rings back Jason. He's like, "Oh yeah, just so you know, because he'll be it's 1 versus 8. The top guy is Hassim Rahman." So I didn't know this, but so Jason's already said okay. He's he's gonna take it. Yeah. Jason rings me and he's like, "Hey, listen, I'm just gonna have to ask you." He's already said okay to it. "I'm just gonna have to ask you, do you want to box in like 3 weeks against this guy Hassim Rahman?" I already know who Hassim Rahman, and he's like waiting for an answer. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I could possibly." "Don't exactly. Yeah, no, we're doing it." And he just sort of gave me his thought on it, like not many people in New Zealand besides David Tua can say that they've fought him, you know, and they've fought him in the ring and that, and just like have that legacy or that, you know. So like I was like, yeah, sweet, I'll give it a crack, you know. I'll give it a crack. I worked with Chris Martin for like 2 weeks and we're in there.
Can I just say, when I saw that photo, when I heard about the news, I was like, holy shit. And then when I saw the face-off, he's a smaller kind of heavyweight, but next to you, he was way bigger. Just the size of him. I was praying for you. I was worried. Even though I know how tough you are. But
I don't actually think I've told anyone outside my coaches or my family. I broke my hand on his head. Oh, shit. So second round, so I was sort of game plan was sort of stick and move, which was just a normal 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Jason comes out the second round. He's like, "You're doing all right. Maybe like try land some bombs on him, you know." So, "Oh, sweet." Go out in the first round. I think for a 1 to the body, and I seen his head pop up and his hand get, so I just threw the biggest overhand. All I remember feeling was bang, and this electric shock just go down my arm, and I was like, and I was like started to next minute my feet were like moving double time, like I was super fast. And then I went back to the corner. I was like, "Jace, my hand's not like something's wrong. I think it's broken." And he was like, "Oh well, yeah. So this round we're gonna have." And he's just like, "What do you want me to do, Antz? We're in the fight. Do you want me to stop it?" Because we're not stopping it. Because Jason's got this thing where he does not throw in the towel. We do not throw in towels. So he's like, "Nah, your hand's broken. We're just gonna get through it." So I end up winning the fight. We go back to the changing rooms and he's like, "Yeah, so we're gonna fight the next fight too, and don't take off your gloves." So we didn't take off my gloves. We were just like, we won't even warm up. We're just gonna shadow box. You're out for the next round.
So you can't see how bad your hand is.
You can't see, you can't feel. Yep. And so I fought the rest of the competition with a broken hand, but it was cool. I was happy. I was just happy to be there. Yeah.
When you beat him, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I was just like one of those what the F moments, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I was put there just to like for numbers and like just to make him look good.
Yeah.
But like typical Kiwi like sort of mentality, like, "Nah, man, we're not here to make up the numbers, man. Like you can just eat our hardest punches and like stand there and we'll bang with you, you know? It was cool.
I wanted to touch on you're quite vocal and quite open about your membership or affiliation or inclusion in the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. Yep. So give us a bit of a background on how you, like similar to how you became a fighter, how did you become part of the Hells Angels?
So I've always ridden motorbikes and I love motorbikes, you know. I've always been riding in that, and then as my sort of career eventuated and stuff, like I'd seen them at my shows, and one of my good mates at the time was one at the time too. And I just started hanging out with them, and because I've got no brothers, I've only got 2 sisters who act like brothers and like men, but they're actually females. So I sort of always had that longing for like a brotherhood and stuff, you know. So I started hanging out with them, and just I love the camaraderie and like everything, the morals and that they stood for. So I joined, and I prospected in late 2011, and I got my colours in 2013. But yeah, I have no regrets about it. It's like it does have like a bad stigma, and the public sort of like look at it in a bad light. But like I promise you, like if you hung out with us, like you would see that we're just normal guys that just love riding bikes. Love each other hard, do everything like to the best of our ability. We're only here for a short time, you know. Why wouldn't you do this life with people that have sort of the same sort of like mentality and look at life, you know, with Do
you feel like you get unfairly treated by the media, the government, the police, where you're not considered to be a motorcycle club? You are given the moniker of being a gang.
Yep.
And obviously that, from outsiders' perception, creates a horrible sort of overview of what you are and who you are as people. How do you go about trying to turn that around and like you touched on the morals and the camaraderie? How do you go about changing people's perceptions?
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and deny like we're all saints. Like we've all made mistakes, like including myself. We've done things that the public do not condone, and that's cool, but so has everyone else, you know. But with trying to change people's like perspective on it is instead of like telling them that we're not these people and we're the same as you, is we're trying to get out there and just hang with them, like show them like, hey, listen, we're just normal people too, you know.
Well, you go back to camaraderie. I mean, look at the police force, look at politicians, look at a rugby team, look at a platoon. All have very similar, you know, sort of morals to a point. Some people say that police officers just, they are wearing their own sort of colours as well. So, I mean, going back to it, it is a camaraderie thing, isn't it? And
I mean, 100%. It's all built around like being a motorcycle enthusiast, you know, like, and we love our bikes, we love riding. There's something in riding that's very similar to fighting. That's why you see a lot of fighters actually ride, you know, like Jason Suddy's been riding for ages, Dougie Vaini rides. I've actually seen Mark Hunt on a bike. There's a few fighters that the feeling that riding gets is very similar to
like
the feeling
thrill-seeking.
It's like a thrill-seeking, like challenging yourself here and there, you know. But yeah.
Because I spoke to a chap, I won't name any names, but I spoke to a chap who I live next door to for a little while that's part of your club. And when talking to him in preparation for this interview, I asked him to give some background information, and it was literally, like you said, some people that might have not had the best upbringing. It gives them the opportunity to have a big brother, to have a father figure. And he said that of you as a person, that he looks up to you and respects you so much and sees you as a mentor and a big brother, and you've helped him through so many things. Even when he's potentially done something that's a bit shit and that he shouldn't have done, rather than you like being this aggressive, authoritarian like leader, you've actually sort of come down on his level and helped him realize the error of his ways, I guess. So like how does that feel for you as again, you've done it in fighting, as a trainer at the gym, as a big brother, as a father, but now as part of the motorcycle club, being like a leader and a mentor. How's that feel for you?
Feels good. It feels like that's the full circle, you know? Like you sort of gain wisdom and everything, and like your life skills. You sort of like gain everything else and do what you can, and then you start giving back, you know. And that's the full circle of everything, including fighting, you know. You just got to give back, and that's the final chapter of the circle.
You were quite vocal in your disapproval with the government's lockdown measures and COVID-19 vaccine measures. What angle were you coming from? Was it hold on, I'm my own man, we are our own people, Who are you to tell us that we have to do this? Or was there, I sort of joked with Isaac whether or not there was a sort of more conspiracy-based thing behind it, like, they're implanting microchips in us to monitor us, or they're gonna like use the I don't know, something else to sort of wipe out the population, because we've seen people talk about that. Like, what was your stance behind that?
My stance behind it was the whole thing of freedom, you know, like we are our own people. We, that's what God gave us, is free will, you know. Who are these people to tell us that this is what we have to do to carry on living? Like, they weren't just doing it to sort of protect us. They were like herding us like sheep. Like, you can only do your shopping with it. You can, like, they said that people weren't forced to do it, but they pretty much forced you. Like, you couldn't actually go to work, couldn't make a living, couldn't drive your cars anywhere. Kids couldn't go to school, you know. They put this whole world at a halt. So that's sort of what disgusted me the most about it. And then, but like, conspiracies did start flying in my head. And there are like people like Ian Clee out there. Like, he's out there like fighting a good fight and like actually getting scientific backing behind all of this. Because there is something suspicious in this whole thing, you know?
Let's be honest, it doesn't even matter now, which is crazy. So the people that didn't get a jab, well, hey, they might be better off. And it's all blown over. And since I've had COVID, I think me and Oz got it on the same night. My immune system's been screwed. And I got it because I got the jab because I had for work and whatnot. But when you look back on it, what was it all for? What was it for? Because it doesn't even matter now, does it? So it was a bit of a control.
People get COVID and it's like, go get a test, don't come to work, you know, for 3 days. But like back then, it was like, when you farted in public, people looked at you sideways. But now when you fart in public, no one looks at you. But if you cough, they're like, he's got COVID, point. You know? Like, they just screwed us over so bad, man. So bad.
Well, it's just, I think, like, part of it is the communication, or the lack of, from the people behind the scenes, because it's come out now that it was man-made. Like, it was made in a lab, and it either escaped or was taken out. Like, that's a conversation for another day, I think. But my sort of fear behind the vaccine was, hold on, normally these vaccines they take 1.5 years, 2 years, or a lot longer. But all of a sudden, 6 weeks down the line, we've got this magic vaccine that's going to save everyone. I don't buy it. And we're seeing the myocarditis. We're seeing people that are in their mid-20s, fit, healthy, all of a sudden carking it, having heart attacks, having strokes, stuff like that. There's something more sinister behind it, I think.
Did you end up getting the...
No, I never got the jab. No.
But there's so many people that I know now, and I didn't think it at the time. I was like, whatever, they didn't get it. But I think they're almost better off. And I don't blame people that didn't get it, because some people had to. I know a lot of people that didn't want to get it for everything they could against, but they had to through family, livelihood, etc. But you never know. The people that didn't get it may be better off.
Yeah, I'm quite jealous of them in a way, to be fair.
I'd hate to think that is the case, because I've got family members that got it, but like they were tearing up people's their families, and they're families that were in the medical fields were like, not allowed over my house. I can't believe you're doing this. Disown you from our family. You know, like, it was crazy. Done something to the human fucking race, man. Like, all around the world, you know. And then the whole media just being the big puppet, and like they were just playing them and like bringing out of it statistics and stuff, you know, giving away free KFC out in South Auckland just to get your jab. Like, what's that about, you know?
But hey, maybe that's why you look better now, because you said...
that's
but
true.
You didn't tell us about the diet. We got away from that. So you were saying back then you're eating pies and Burger King, and you obviously haven't had a jab, so that's probably a secret. But what do you do now diet-wise? I know we're going all over the show, but...
So like, for a while there, like I was going to like all these people like, that dietitians, people that are food savvy, and then like asking about their diets and stuff. At the end of the day, I just had to look at someone that looks good and has stayed looking good pretty much his whole life, which is Sammy, my brother-in-law. He has not he doesn't even look like he's aged almost. His body has like just been good his whole life. He just like looks good all the time, and I've just stuck with him, and like we've just nutted out something that works with me. A lot of it is a kickstart on keto, so no carbs, no sugar, and then the maintenance is just like low carb, low sugar, you know?
I've tried everything over the year. Like, my weight goes like that any given week. I can put on 4 kilos a week. I can lose 4 grams a week.
Christmas, you were vegan, right? You were vegan at Christmas.
I've done vegan. That didn't really work. I thought I was going to die. I've gone in the complete opposite direction. I did carnivore, so just beef, just meat. And that was cracking, to be fair. I think I ended up doing it for about 5 or 6 weeks. And I think I lost about 15 kilos. But I was shitting through the eye of a needle every 5 seconds. Like you couldn't trust a fart on that diet. So I don't recommend it. If you're not close to a toilet, don't do the carnivore diet. At the moment, or for the last couple of weeks, I've been doing that 1 meal a day, which I think it like incorporates the keto side of things. So I'm fasting for 23 hours, eating for 1 hour. But I'm trying to keep that 1 meal like real well balanced and nutritious, as opposed to, because they do say that because of everything that's going on inside your body for the 23 hours, you don't actually have to worry about sugar or carbs or how many calories. Like you can overeat and still lose weight. And I'm finding that really works. Like in the mornings, from about 9 until maybe 12, I'm full of energy and I feel like, I reckon, like on a good day, I feel like I could bloody go in the ring with you for an hour. But then, but then like half an hour before my allotted mealtime, oh my God, I've never felt hunger pangs like it. And then night times, your concentration is just all over the gaff because all you're thinking about is, I've got 12 hours before I can eat again.
Wow.
But it seems to work. But keto's working for you, is it?
Yeah, just to get it kick-started, you know. I do believe like the body is an amazing like survival system. So like, you know how you're doing the one meal a day and that, your body will eventually adapt to that, you know. And then it's not going to shred anything.
So you have to change again.
Yeah, you're going to have to do something else. And I think that's what's worked with me, is just going from keto and then kick-starting that and then just going into something else. But then But
you do got to experiment too, like you are. I'm very much keto, but I'm not like any sort of fitness freak bodybuilder. But you just got to do what works for you.
100%.
Sometimes people aren't good with red meat. You cut that out. You know, you're better with maybe chicken or fish. And you sound like you finally cracked it after experimenting with a few different things.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's just experimenting, like finding what works for you. What works for like some superstar UFC fighter is not going to work for everyone, you know?
We're all different.
And all different body types and that, which is quite funny because Jason used to always tell me like, oh, you train so much, how come you never have abs? I made up this lie to him and told him it's a body type thing. So your body type cannot, like, so certain people's body types cannot have abs. No shit, he believed this for like 15, maybe 16 years. Later on down the track, he's come up to me and he goes, you know what?
You're a liar.
You're a liar. I've just figured out that lie that you told me, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that lie. Like way later, like he was like, you little shit. But I fully had him believing that it was only because of my body type.
What is it though now though? What's your guilty pleasure? Is it like a Moro bar? Is it KFC? Is
real bad with chocolate, eh? Like I eat dessert before I eat main, and then I might eat dessert again. Nice. So maybe I have a little main so I can have 2 desserts, you know? Like I got real bad sweet tooth,
Okay.
Yeah, I used to sleep with a little, those little Coca-Cola fridges next to, and I'd wake up and then like, half asleep and eat like little Snickers bars
in the middle of the
night. And I'd wake up and there'd be like cans of Coke and Snickers. I was like, better restack that today, you know? Yeah, but I'm real surprised. Like I'm not diabetic.
Oh well, one day.
Yeah.
There's a couple of questions that we like to ask every guest that we bring onto the show. The first of which I want to ask you, and you can ask the second one. I'm not going to touch your leg anymore. Sorry. I just like having him close to me. What's the biggest, and you're actually, I nearly touched your leg then. You're the biggest guest we've had on so far in terms of stature, for sure. So I reckon your answer is going to be slightly different. What's the biggest animal you reckon you could take in a fight?
The biggest animal? The biggest animal that I would take on a fight? Or
that you could
and win?
Yeah.
Wow. I would have to say, like a baby panda or something.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They're the least violent animal on the planet.
No,
they're strong.
They're like not quite a bear.
Yeah.
They're quite cute. And they're quite lazy. So I reckon I would win on it against a baby panda.
But is it a segue into calling the Balkan bear a panda bear?
Oh!
Yes, it was.
Hey, look, so I'll just leave it up to you and the viewers, eh? But yeah, I would say a little panda bear.
Nice.
Yeah, baby panda bear.
What about you?
Well, is this a serious or a joking question?
No, I'm asking you for sure.
Well, mine's a bit serious. It's not going to be like panda bear question. But,
Oh, what's yours? Oh, no, that was actually a serious answer.
Oh, what animal would I?
Yeah, what animal could you beat in a fight? The biggest.
Jack Russell.
Fuck off.
I don't know, my Jack Russell's pretty tough.
All right, that's a weird one. Like, I'd say I would be comfortable beating. I'd feel comfortable that I could beat a lemur.
I'm not confident.
I said a goat or a sheep.
I reckon
I wouldn't even know how do you beat a lemur?
No, have you seen that goat that hit the boxing bag? No, I did work in shearing sheds, and I couldn't even not beat a sheep or a ram.
On a serious note, a couple did die from a ram.
Yeah.
Just recently, yeah.
Look, I just want to win. I want to confidently win, so I'd just say like a orangutan. I don't know, man.
You're more confident against an orangutan than you are a goat.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know, man. A cat. I don't know. Just I don't know. It's the weirdest question I've ever been asked. You really got me on this one. I don't know.
Yeah, you really stumped them.
I'd definitely beat a sloth.
Oh, yeah. They got long nails, though.
Wouldn't be it.
They have.
What about you, man? Moving on from me. What about you?
I just said a goat. I still reckon it's not a ram,
Goat would
but I
beat
reckon
you.
it's like a normal goat, like a billy goat.
Okay.
With a little thing, beard.
Okay.
I'll smash it.
It's a random. Panda bear. I thought you would have went for maybe something a bit bigger, that a little bit tougher.
Pandas are big.
Pandas are massive.
Pandas about the same size.
Pandas are massive, and I was going to say a bear, but have you seen that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the cocaine bear? Have
No,
you watched
I haven't.
that? Bruv,
That's
please watch it.
Yeah.
It's the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's just the
Just
bear
a
on
bear that
cocaine.
eats cocaine and it goes sick. You need to watch
Really?
it.
It's
yeah.
true, like
Bear talk.
And it's based on a real story.
Oh, okay, yeah,
story
yeah.
as well. Yeah, it's it's on Netflix, I think. Cocaine Bear.
okay, I'll go for the watch.
Yeah, it's like him on the weekend.
So do I get to ask a question around animals? Is that like a joke, or
What do you mean?
Are we asking random questions now?
Ask random questions, brother.
Here's my question, and I want it's a little bit more serious, but it's not too serious. With the new gen and the old gen, right?
Yep.
What do you notice the difference between when you were training this new gen compared to when you were on the come up? Like, what's the biggest difference between that gen and your gen? Or this gen, sorry, the new, Gen Y, whatever it is, and you guys. Is there massive similarities, differences? I mean, home of the hard rewa, a lot of them would still be quite all the same, but are you noticing anything different back in my day, we fucking did this, like...
I think back in my day, everyone took a lot more chances than the new fighters do. The new fighters now like to sort of pick and choose who they sort of fight. They really they're really concentrated on their records, like trying to keep that zero or trying to get like a higher knockout rate or something like that, Like back in my day, I think we wouldn't really get options, not because probably wasn't that many fighters anyways, but that would be one of the differences. And the other difference is like the fighters these days are very into themselves, and so they should be. Cool, but
like with socials and
the whole social thing. Like I seen this cool thing about Brad Riddell read up, and he was just like, he named one of these fighters that is fighting, I think it was in a couple of weeks or something. He has not made one post about it, not one training post, one note, hasn't even spoken about it. Yeah. He's just in the gym every single day, And that was cool for Brad Riddell to bring up, And then it is true, like some of these people concentrate a little bit too much on what everyone else thinks instead of just getting down to that nitty gritty and just working on yourself, It
is like, it's turned into like influencer culture, hasn't it? Like
It is.
Everyone wants to be an influencer, everyone wants to be sort of in the spotlight, and it does for fighters. It is becoming a bit like that.
What if you don't post that you went to the gym? It didn't happen. And I think because we're all sort of in the similar age. I noticed that with the younger gen too, because. But then, in some ways, in their defence, that is what gets you the likes, the grand, the bigger, money bags these days.
It is.
Unfortunately, it's just that world we live in.
You get paid more the more followers you get.
Yeah, 100%. There's a very fine line between being cocky and being confident,
part of it as well, and I've noticed it in other. I think it's across the board, sports-wise, not just combat sports. Is the science behind the sport has evolved.
Yep.
So like in football, the training. I think, do you guys still call it soccer over here, like the Yanks?
Yeah, I think we do.
So proper football, like English football. The science behind the training in that has evolved massively in my lifetime, where they wear heart monitors, they have specific strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists, this. Whereas sort of 50 years ago, you didn't have that.
Yep.
And that's the same, we've got, even in New Zealand, there's nutrition companies that provide pre-made meals and stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's part of it as well, is the science and that side of things has started to grow and become a bit more complex.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe a lot of people have sort of relied solely on that science, you know. But if we look at the Thais, especially the ones in the One Championship and that, they just do the same thing
as they always
for maybe the last 200 years or something, you know, like the running before you train, the running after you're training, you know, like just the way they train hasn't changed that much, you know. And I think just got to find that balance between the two, you know.
Sometimes, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And some of the oldest techniques are still, you know, they stand the true test of time. The Thai oil, the things they do, you know what I mean?
That stuff.
I mean, even being at Shuriken Gym the other day, I could just smell everything, and it just kind of brought back a lot of memories. Like when you go to gyms and see all that, and sometimes old school just is the way to do it, right? Yes, it's good to keep up with science and new technology, but you can't kind of beat some of the old school techniques too.
So like when I was training for the other fights, I was incorporating into my training a lot of CKB stuff, which is pretty scientifically proven and everything, you know. I don't know why it didn't work for me. Maybe I wasn't doing it properly, but for this, maybe for this fight, I've worked with Rob Suddy, which is Jason's younger brother. And Dan Napier was an old fighter, but big Kaikishin background and that. And so I've just been working with them, and a lot of it's just that raw, hard training. Like the only thing that I've been doing, and I don't mind sharing it, is like the pushing of a car. He's got this truck and he's got this car park, and it's like it changes levels. And so like I've got to push it for 2 minutes. So it's 1 minute one way, 1 minute the other way, and then you just got to smash the pad for as hard as you can. So like the first round, like first time you push it, you're sweet. You're pushing it back and you just start dying. You know, your like legs are going. Start questioning like, man, this is not right for me. You know, and maybe my calf's pinging. Nah, it's not pinging in that. And then so anyway, and then when you smash the bag, you actually like, that's when you're on that ugly spot. And that's what we've been working on, is just getting to that ugly spot and being comfortable with it, you know?
That's a good way to do it, to be fair.
Well, that's the thing, like,
crazy.
We've all trained. You've trained at high levels. You've trained, Kyle. I've trained.
High levels.
And, you know, nothing beats it. You can go for a spar, you can play a game of football, soccer, but nothing beats is banging out like some hard pad rounds, kicks, even a good sparring session. Nothing beats it.
It doesn't. It really, and it's so good. It's good for your fitness, but it's good for your mental focus. I found when I do train, I train in the mornings before I go into the office. And you can tell if I skip a session and go to the office, I'm like a different person. If I train and I go to the office, I'm happy. I've done what I need to do, but I'm also quite sort of lazy. So if I don't go in the morning, I'll spend the whole day finding excuses for reasons not to go and train.
That's just human nature, no way. Just justifying it.
People talk about therapy. This is therapy sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
You can go see a therapist, and that's a little bit of a segue into another one. Was they've got sports psychologists these days. What are your thoughts on that and therapy? Is that something you've ever been to, or do you think that's a benefit to athletes, having a sports psychologist?
Sports psychologist? I know my sister and dad do it, and I do believe in therapy. I sort of like talking to someone else about what's going on in your brain. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, especially training people that know how to sort of bounce it back and sort of, they don't really tell you what to think. They sort of let you be all right with what you're thinking, you know, and it's I reckon it's quite beneficial with sports psychology. I think it's because some of these guys don't even play sports, you know. So that's what, like, I don't know. Like, I myself wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I'm quite susceptible to like when people like tell me about something, then I'll take it on board 100%. I've gone back home and I think, yep, no, it's all right to hold your breath for like a minute and a half, or you know, like just weird stuff, you know. So like, I probably wouldn't do it myself.
different strokes, different folks, right?
Yeah, hard out.
Sometimes just doing like I said, going back to the pads.
Yeah.
That can just, you had a shit day, and sometimes you don't want to go to the gym, you go and you feel like $1 million after, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
So, well, thank you very much for being here. I think we've got some like real good talking points. There's one question that I like to ask our guests to sort of round things off. Antz and Nansen, when everything is said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
How do I want to be remembered? Wow. I mean, I've heard this question asked so many people before, and I've asked myself this, like, how do I want to be remembered? Just like someone that gave it their all, you know, that wasn't afraid to be themselves, to do things their way, and just love wholeheartedly, you know, everything and everyone,
Nice. Beautiful. Thank you very much, man.
Nah, cool, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. It was a pleasure meeting you properly for the first time.
Yeah, hopefully you don't get jitters next time you see me, eh? Or whatever it was that you got,
What
eh?
was it? Gasping.
Gasping, yeah. Like, read that somewhere.
Someone messaged me last week, it was like Stephen McGuire, I think he's like, oh, I got to meet Antz Nansen. He's like, people were still in awe of you, man.
Yeah.
Like, people still were like, shit, with the season 2, and they're probably too scared to come up to you.
He was the commentator, was quite big around that Super 8 area, you know, and we never actually got to like sit down and talk in that. But yeah, you know, he's a bit of a dude. Yeah, he's cool.
He's a lad, we worked with him a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's a funny fella.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, I got to meet him, and it's just like, oh, well, yeah, we've known him for a bit, but people, that just must be a bit interesting how that people still look at you and sometimes you just go like, hey man, I'm still a person.
Yeah.
You know,
like, I don't really know how to handle those situations, you know, like when people start talking like, yeah, man, I looked up to you, like, and I don't want to be rude too, you know, like I'm just like, yep, thank you, you know, like
I don't even know who you are.
Like
what the
100%. So on my Instagram, and that I message back every single person that messages me, because I just appreciate anyone, you know, like that's gone out of their way,
to reach out to you for whatever reason it might be.
Yeah. So there's no one that I have not messaged back. Unless it was like death threats and that and stuff. Don't
message. You got a few of them to block.
Maybe.
I've blocked a few of those.
Dan Hooker, like, oh no, fuck, definitely don't message back that guy, bro.
Dan Hooker?
Yeah.
You fought Dan Hooker? Was it?
No, I was only sparring. I actually didn't want to talk about this. I just want to tell everyone that thank you, whoever recorded it, recorded only the bits that I was doing so well. Anything past that and anything before that, I was getting a hell of a hiding. I was getting a hell of a hiding. 100% I was getting a hell of a hiding. So it was like a fundraiser for their gym.
Right.
I had gone out Saturday night. It was my mate's birthday. So I'd gone out and they ring me up and they're like, hey, they're having a fundraiser. They've asked for a tag team. So 2 guys in the ring and you can just tap out when you're gonna when you've had enough. And the next guy comes in. So I was like, oh yeah, and they were like, it's not that serious, it's all good. So I was like, oh yeah, sweet as. So this is Saturday night. Sunday afternoon it starts and they're like, oh, you're not on till like 7 o'clock. I said, oh, sweet as. Start chilling out and start watching the fights and I'm like, oh, that guy's got a broken nose. Like, hey, what's going on here? Like, and then anyway, the fight before the fight for hours, they've made like a ring, but it's made out of people. So when you get pushed like to the side, you know, in the ring, you bounce back. These people push you back like it's Fight Club, you know. So anyway, I was like, oh, okay, what's going on here? Anyway, they go to start and you go to the corner and it's got 2 beers there. And you got to scull a beer before you think. And this is a Strike Force, like, I don't know if it's, but there's a Strike Force fundraiser. And this is how they roll, you know. This is like, they're just West Side tough, you know. Yeah. And so anyway, they're like, sweet. So I'll go in there, like, first one to go my beer, go touch Aaron's glove. He doesn't even touch my glove. He tries to knock me out, misses that, and then throws a left hand. I was like, oh, sweet. So we'll just spar hard, you know. Next thing he goes and tags Dan Hooker, and I was like, the skinny guy, I'll be all right. First thing is bang, head kick. I'm like, hold on, that wasn't meant to happen. So then that's when the recording started, because I just started firing up, you know. And I don't know if the guy ran out of battery, but thank God, because after that, I remember eating a knee and then a head kick, and then I went to go touch my corner guy, because, you know, we've got to change over. And he's looking the other way. He's like, doesn't want to bar off it. So I turned back to Dan Hooker and he's just like 3 pieces. He's like, bah, bah, bah. And then I was like, turned and I was like trying to clinch him, trying to do anything. And then it was like middle of the round and I just looked at my cornerman and I was like, fuck, nah, you know, this is a real bad fucking look for me. I think I want to stop. And Aaron's like, you're not allowed to stop. You got to keep going. I was like, fuck. So I was like, just 3 rounds. But yeah, like, first time I'd seen Dan in like ages coming out of retirement and everything, I went up to him and I was like, bro, thank you for making me famous, bro. You're like, so many people were like, bro, you fought Dan Hooker. But I thought it was only sparring, but I was like, thank you. Yes, I did fight Dan Hooker, you know. But yeah, he's a dude.
Yeah, he's a lad.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Nah, cool. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother.